Hi, I'm Zsolt Eder. I teach viola at Washburn University, and today we're going to talk about the KMEA excerpts for 2023-24. So we start with Beethoven's Symphony No. 5, one of the iconic pieces of the classical repertoire. It's a really lovely second movement, a theme and variations. And of course, the violas, along with the cellos, have the solo in the beginning. It's a section solo. So we want to make sure we play it with ample sound and a warm sound. It's not pianissimo, and like I said, it's a solo, so it has to be very warm and cantabile. One of the important things in this one is to make sure we're really precise on the dotted rhythms. I'm talking about the dotted 16th notes followed by the 32nd notes. They should never sound like a triplet. We have to maintain that rhythm. Another little detail that's important, the last note of measure 4 is a 32nd note, and the last note of measure 5 is a 16th note. So there's actually a different rhythm in bar 5, and you have to show that. The first dynamic changes in bar 7. We have that forte. I do the tiniest crescendo into bar 7, so it's not quite a subito forte. I think that's the right way to go, so it kind of leads into the forte note a little bit. And likewise, I'm sustaining the forte in bar 7, but I might be doing a little bit, I might be rounding off the end of that forte note a little bit, so it's not an abrupt piano. And that's an interpretive decision. There may be conductors and viola players who would ask for something else, but that's how I interpret it. A full sound on the forte, both in bar 7 and 9. My metronome marking on this, I played around 80. It's important that it's not too slow. A lot of people play this excerpt too slow, but I think 80 is a good middle ground. I think 92 is a little bit too fast. All right, Mendelssohn's Midsummer Night's Dream, a very famous excerpt, both on violin and viola, actually. It's a difficult excerpt in terms of getting the bow stroke right and also maintaining the tempo and getting it clean. So let's talk about the bow stroke. The effect of this bow stroke should be off the string. I mean, it's an off the string type sound, but we shouldn't play it with the bow very much off the string. So what I recommend in this one, pick a slightly stronger contact point closer to the bridge than you usually might for spiccato. Get a little bit more bow hair on, a little bit flatter bow hair, and really aim to stay on the string with the bow. And what's going to happen is the bow is going to sort of give it a kick a little bit off the string just because of the strong contact point and the fuller hair. So the bow is going to sort of do the work by itself. We're creating an off-the-string effect by actually staying pretty much on the string, and the bow is going to do the work for us. And that'll give it the clarity that it needs, and we can maintain better control over the bow stroke. So here's what that sounds like. So if you zoom in, if you were to zoom in on my bow, it doesn't look like it's going off the string at all. But because of the strong contact point, it is creating the effect, the separation and the articulation that makes it sound off the string. Dynamics is important in this one. It's pianissimo. I recommend playing with a little bit more sound than how you would play it in orchestra. And I think that's standard practice for orchestral auditions. We can play a little bit more than how you would actually play it in orchestra. It'll help with that, with confidence and also getting clarity in the sound. Obviously, we don't want it to be too loud, but just sort of almost closer to piano in the beginning is how I would play it. And then in bar 17, we do actually have a piano. It could be a little bit more there, but I think getting the bow stroke and the clarity of the notes is super important in this one, and more important than trying to play as soft as you possibly can. We've got little hairpins in there. I think we can show that shape subtly. We don't need to make too much of that because of the line of the notes sort of shows that anyway. It's going to come across anyway. Metronome marking wise, I'm at 88. I think it has to have that sort of vitality and energy. If it's too slow, then it starts to sound flat and sort of kind of lacking in momentum. I think 88 is a good tempo for this. And make sure you maintain that tempo all the way through to the end. Brahms Symphony No. 1, such a great excerpt for viola. I always enjoy playing this one. This is a good one to practice with the metronome because it's hard for rhythm. We have to make sure in the beginning, even though it's piano, we play with enough bite on the string to make it really crisp and articulate. There's no crescendo until measure 4, and then we have a really big crescendo there. A really intense excerpt, and it sort of keeps building and building as it goes on. So it sort of grows in momentum. Already in bar 5, we're at fortissimo. It's very high energy, very dynamic, and your playing has to convey that character with the vibrato and the bow stroke. Very accented, very punchy on all of these notes, starting in bar 5 to make it rhythmic enough and dynamic, energetic enough. So I'm almost imagining a little accent on all of those notes, starting in bar 5 and through the end of the excerpt. One example of the way he builds intensity, he sort of says the same thing 3 times in bar 8, and then in bar 10, and then in bar 12, and each one should be a bit more in terms of volume and intensity, and he does that again later. Show the sforzatos as much as you can in bar 9 and 11. I may not have held those notes all the way through as a full quarter note, but I don't think we need to there. The attack is the most important thing. Getting off of the tied over notes is super important. There's a lot of tied over notes like into 16, 18, 20, making sure you're getting off of the long note at the right place. So metronome practice is good for that. Especially as you get lower, as you're playing on the G string and the C string, you'll need more bite in the bow, and that usually means closer to the bridge and just a little bit more focus, a little bit more attention from the index finger, so you're catching the string really well. A really powerful excerpt, so you can really put a bit of muscle into this one, and make sure make sure your vibrato is also conveying the intensity of the music here in this one. I'm Zsolt Eder from Washburn University. Thanks for watching this video. If you have questions, if you'd like to reach out about these excerpts, my email address can be found in the description section of the video. Also in the description section, you can find links to my parts for these excerpts with fingerings and bowings if you'd like to take a look at that. Thanks for watching.